Oraxia or SPIDERFRAME is finally out and it has been long overdue. I'm extremely excited to bring you guys this build. We have one build, a one-use, all-purpose, just steel path destruction build. So without any more dilly-dallying, let's quickly get into the actual build video. Oraxia is our newest spider Warframe. She is our newest Warframe in the Isleweaver update, and I have been really waiting for this Warframe to come out, mostly because of those 4 legs and how she can just attach to everything and basically spider web swing, I guess, all over the place. Nonetheless, you might be wondering, what is the fashion frame all about? Well, here you go. This is the looks. I have to say, with all of her attachments and everything, and alongside the ephemera and the sandana, she looks incredible. Good. She looks feisty, she looks scary, she is scary, and we'll cover all of that in just a tiny bit. What you could cover with your little mouse cursor would be the like, the bell, and the like icon as well. It always helps out. It is very much appreciated by me, so thank you very much for pressing those buttons. But you'll comment a little bit later on when we actually cover the build. But we're gonna start off with the passive. Oraxia's passive will give you 8 seconds of invisibility once you wall latch to a surface, and you can refresh this buff every time it runs out. Quite a decent buff, and invisibility is an incredibly good way of surviving, especially when you can refresh it like this. And now, starting off with our first ability, we have Mercy's Kiss. Mercy's Kiss will allow you to leap onto an enemy, dealing toxin damage, and that enemy, when it gets killed, has an increased chance of dropping health and or energy orbs, which is going to be incredibly good. This ability can sustain this Warframe, but we do have a better alternative, and that is going to be Nourish. Nourish will give you and your little spiderlings, we'll talk about those in just a second, viral damage, which is going to be incredibly good, making this sort of a pocket Panzerwolf profiler without you actually needing to use it, and it's going to give you extra energy, which this ability already does, so we're going to subsume over that. What we're not going to subsume over, and we can't really, is the second ability, Webbed Embrace, which will allow you to throw a maximum of 3 cobweb walls that will trap in enemies and deal toxin damage to them as well. This will give them a damage vulnerability, which is going to increase your Mercy Kiss if you're going to use it. The first ability is damage, and alongside basically everything else. And one of the best things is going to be your third ability, Widow's Brood. Oraxia is going to launch darts that are going to impale enemies, dealing toxic status effects, and when these enemies are killed, your little spiderlings will spawn, and these little spiderlings will go attack enemies, deal toxin and impact damage as well, and they will be very beneficial, and they can do a lot of damage to the enemies ensnared in your second ability. And then your fourth ability, Silken Stride, will grow 4 legs, which is going to be incredibly cool. It will allow you to traverse with these legs, you are immune to status effects, and your maximum health gets increased. Your weapons will get imbued with toxin damage. Incarnate forms won't, so keep that in mind, but we'll cover that in just a second. And killing enemies will make them burst with a toxin as well. And one cool feature, tapping the dodge button will allow you to web sling wherever your cursor is. This is one of the coolest things about this ability, alongside the invisibility when you're wall latched, and you can wall latch infinitely, which is going to be incredibly good. Leading us on to the build itself, the one and only, and this is it up on screen. And in the aura slot we have Summoner's Wrath, which is going to increase our companion and summon damage by 75%, Coactional Drift, which is going to make us benefit 15% more from that. We have Primed Flow, Stretch, Blind Rage, Archon Continuity, which is also going to give us Corrosive, Precision Intensify. We have Overextended Equilibrium, Umbral Vitality, alongside Arcane Crepuscular, which is going to give us final critical damage by 3 times, and additional 30% power strength, alongside Molt Augmented. Now you can switch out Molt Augmented for Arcane Camisado, which is going to give your companions 20% movement speed as well, but Molt Augmented is more consistent throughout the gameplay, and Arcane Camisado can be iffy depending on how much spiderlings actually attack. Now, other things that you can change out if you do want to focus, for example, on two separate builds is the aura itself. You can change it yourself for growing power, and instead of molt augmented, you can, for example, use arcane arachne, or you can, for example, use an arcane that is going to increase your rifle's damage, like arcane rage and other arcanes like that. Now, umbral vitality, you can combine it with umbral intensify, and that is going to be incredibly good. I chose precision density to increase my toxin imbuement damage that I gain on my weapons, and the explosion damage being a little bit higher as well. So you can switch that out for the umbral version if you really want to. Now, what's going to help this Warframe out a lot is going to be the Archon Shards of choice as well. We have two basic green ones giving us a maximum of 14 stacks of corrosing, allowing us to fully armor strip the enemies. We do have another one which is going to increase our power strength by 15% on enemies affected by corrosive. We have two yellow ones, one for casting speed, and the other one is going to be 50% effectiveness on energy orbs, which is going to increase our energy gains when we do run out, because your fourth ability can actually drain your energy pretty fast. But don't you worry, you're not going to have any energy issues whilst you're deploying this build. What's going to help you out a little bit as well is the focus core choice Madurai. We have power transfer here, which is going to give you casting speed with switching to operator, and then sling strength, which is going to give you additional ability strength when you sling multiple times. This could be incredibly good. It's not necessarily needed, but you can use it, and it will increase your power strength and casting speed, which, as I mentioned, is always incredibly good. But now, the weapons of choice. Because the Incarnate weapons, actual Incarnate mode, doesn't get imbued toxin effects, there is a little bit less options here. But one, first of all, an Incarnate weapon that I really recommend you use is the Boar Incarnate. The base boar, is incredibly good in and of itself. The build is up on screen alongside the evolutions, and the evolution itself, or I guess when it's transformed into its Incarnate mode, is incredibly good because you're going to be applying a lot of corrosive and you're going to be armor stripping enemies insanely fast. But the bad part is, against acolytes, you cannot use this. You can only use the base form, which already has toxin on it, which means you already have corrosive, which is going to be incredibly good. So Boar Incarnate right there. The other weapon I recommend you use is going to be the Cedo Prime. I am in love with this weapon. This weapon can armor strip enemies, and the disc that you have for your roll fire is going to be incredibly good for priming up enemies. The build is up on screen. We have corrosive, magnetic, and heat. This is sort of like a damage and also a combination of status and priming enemies build, so I highly recommend you use this, test this out. If not, you can try out the Kuwa Braum. This is a weapon that I found extremely useful with this Warframe, but the bad side is it doesn't apply a lot of corrosive because out of its slow fire rate, but you can utilize your third ability and your second ability alongside your fourth ability to actually gain yourself a lot of corrosive on those enemies and fully armor strip them, so you don't have to worry about it. The AoE of this weapon will be incredibly good as sort of a substitution for the lack of corrosive procs, but there are many weapons you can actually use with this Warframe, and I would like to hear some of them in the comment section down below. So leave your comments down below on what you think of the build for now and some good weapon recommendations. Secondary and melee, honestly, pick whatever you want. If you want extra security against acolytes, a Spore Lacer kit gun is going to be incredibly good. I will leave a build up on screen right now, and I will leave the actual parts that you need. So there you go, check that out. Other than that, as I said, use whatever you want. And now, the companion of choice. The companion of choice is very important here. We're going to be using Nautilus, and Nautilus Prime to be specific, alongside Hellstrom. You can see it up on screen. This is going to be mostly for increasing our fire rate on our primaries, and this is going to be incredibly good because of Cordon. It's going to group up enemies, and grouping up enemies is going to allow your minions to kill the enemies faster and utilize your second ability much more effectively. Alongside your fourth, you can just latch onto a wall, drag in enemies with Nautilus, and shoot them while you're latched onto a wall, making your playstyle incredibly easy. Now, if you want something a little bit different, this is my Sunica build and her Claw builds as well. The Mecha set is going to be incredibly good for spreading a lot of statuses all over the place. So combining Mecha Recharge, which is going to recharge your shields a little bit faster, which is pretty good to have, but you are health tanking in this situation, alongside having it on your claws, your Mecha Overdrive, of course, is going to allow you to proc statuses and spread statuses incredibly fast, up to enemies up to 22 meters, 22.5 meters if I'm correct. And that is sort of an alternative, considering you don't really need the Panzer file for viral because you already have it through your first ability. And now, how am I supposed to play this build? Well, plain and simple. Activate Nourish, have Nourish active pretty much all of the time, and then activate your third ability, kill a couple of enemies. Those enemies are gonna have your spiders spawn in when you kill them, and then those spiders are gonna do a lot of the work as well. Activate your fourth ability, Wall Latch, get a little bit of energy, activate your second ability, ensnare some enemies, activate your third again, make those enemies much weaker. They're gonna die pretty much in a couple of seconds. You can pretty much even see it in the gameplay in the background, and just always keep an eye out on your energy so you don't run out. And that's pretty much it. A really, really cool and fun Warframe. She already got a couple of changes. Her fourth ability got a status increase, so it was 25 before. On the micro patch, it got up to 40% base, which is going to be pretty good. Toxin damage increase, so keep that in mind. So she does seem to be in a pretty good place. There was a micro patch, another one after that. They didn't seem to change her, so hopefully she stays the way she is. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm quite interested in what you guys think of her. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love every single one of you guys. Thank you for liking, subscribing, viewing, all of that. It's very much appreciated, and I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts down below. It's been the Game Weasel, over and out.